Okay. This is April Berry, and April was one of our earlier chief interns. She went from 2016, 2017, and our chief interns are the folks out of the 8 that really are the standout folks, the folks that clearly are natural leaders, the people that are always finding solutions instead of creating problems. And April was that to an extreme extent. So let's talk some about you, April. Let's talk some about background. Talk to us some about where you come from, what your background is, both in terms of how you grew up and in terms of school experiences.
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Quirk. So I grew up in a small town in Mississippi. It was a very impoverished community, predominantly African American. I was exposed to a lot of different things, such as, over policing, intimate partner violence, drug use, just a lot of different things in my community. And I, from that point in time, just kind of took to my grandmother, who was a very influential person in my life, how do we get past this? What can I do? And these are questions that I was asking her growing up. And her, with only a 9th grade education, she instilled into me the purpose of getting an education and coming back and giving back to your community. And so it was from that point forward that I strived throughout my high school and was able to become a first-generation college student with a full presidential scholarship to attend undergrad with no financial strain at all, and was able to persevere enough that I didn't even have to do a total of 4 years for my undergrad. I only did 3 years because I took a lot of credits while I was in high school to just, try to get through it and get done. And so I finished in my undergrad tenure. I actually graduated as summa cum laude. So I was very excited about that. And then from there, I decided to, and it was there during the time in my undergrad career that I realized, what could be a major that I could, actually take on that would help me to understand some of the experiences that I was exposed to during childhood. And that's kind of what led me into psychology, because I wanted to understand how can some of these, adverse childhood experiences and circumstances actually impact mental health. And so that's what led me to actually majoring in psychology. And then I went on and got my master's in counseling psychology with the clinical concentration at Alabama A&M University.
We're going to talk about that one. I want to get you to say some things about that. What I remember was April went through and did a master's thesis, which is not required by that program. Most of the folks just do their comps and they get out of it. A thesis is a big bear of a thing. It is basically you choose a topic, you do very carefully controlled research. You basically find out everything that has ever been written about that in any kind of publication, and you weave it into your introduction, and you set the stage for what you're researching. Huge piece of work. For most people, this is 1.5 to 2 years by itself. Now, what we know about April was, how long did it take you to get through your entire master's program?
Just 1.5 years.
That's crazy. So it means that she was knocking out, I don't know how many classes at a time and knocking the top out of them. I mean, you came out of your master's with what kind of grade point average?
4.0.
4.0. Yeah. 4.0 in a grade program, while she is working on a thesis, while she is doing at times 20 hours a week in an internship program with us. I don't know where the hours come from, not to mention the focus, but that was amazing. I was so delighted with you. That was great. Very good. So, So, anything you want to say about your experience with us? What do you think that it opened up for you in terms of understanding some things and helping you to move on your way?
Yeah. So, before my master's program, I really didn't have a lot of clinical experience, didn't really have a lot of research experience. And that's kind of why I wanted to take the master's route to do that. So when it was time for me to enroll in practicum, I had heard a lot of great things about Longwood, and especially you, Dr. Quirk. And so I was like, I think that would be the best fit, for me, as far as where I'm trying to go, as far as long-term getting into a PhD program. And I knew that I needed strong clinical interest in order to be very competitive for those type of programs. And so while at Longwood, just being able to do assessments, being able to sit down with clients and just have that interaction as far as learning about different things, as far as, disability process during that time. All of that really now has shaped my future in a profound way. It even allowed for me to have a leg up when I got to my PhD program to start clinical work early because of the clinical work that I had done while I was at A&M and under your leadership, for practicum and internship. So when I came into my PhD program, my first year, I started out seeing clients. And that was because of the experience that I had with working with you. So it definitely set me up.
Love that. Love hearing that. That's terrific. So now you've been in 3 years, okay? And I mean, I want you to talk about what you've done in those 3 years, but one of the ones I want to really bring to the surface, I remember maybe was it a year ago that you presented research at the Alabama Psychological Association convention down at the Gulf Coast?
Yeah.
And you got some really positive attention. A lot of the people who were doing the evaluation were very impressed with what you've done. Give us a little snapshot of what was it that you're researching in that.
Yeah, so actually that presentation that you're talking about there built off of my thesis that I did at A&M. So I kind of expanded it when I got to South to be able to collect more data in regards to that. So actually I was looking at how does emotional control norms, which is a traditional masculine ideology that most men adhere to, kind of restricting their emotions and not really sharing their feelings and being vulnerable towards others, how does adhering to that impact depression? And so actually what I did, looked at that among men, but also among women. And then also taking it a step further, looking at that within the African American population. So how do both African American men and women who kind of control their emotions and keep their emotions bottled up inside, how does that impact their experiences of depression in the long run? So it was a very good project. And like I said, it built off of my thesis that I did at A&M. And from there, I've just been researching more and more and more about how, restricting emotions, adhering to traditional role norms, and how does your gender socialization experiences impact your mental health in the long run.
Cool. Very nice. Nice piece of research. Good deal. So talk to us some about, what you've been doing in your doctoral program. And what we know about you for sure is that not only are you on top of things, that you do things really well, but you're always 3 steps ahead. What you're doing now is not just about the immediate, but it's about creating that forward view about where am I going and how do I shape that future for myself. And so talk some about you alluded to your mission at first. You said, I wanted to be able to really give back to the community and really help people to take a leg up, in their lives and do better with their lives. And so talk about how that shaped up for you, and then what you're doing to really set the stage to be able to do that.
Yeah, for sure. So when I came into the PhD program here at South, the first meeting I had with my primary mentor was, what do you want to do beyond this program? And I told him that I would love to go into academia. I want to be able to teach. I want to be able to instill into, other college students that they can persevere, that they can get through things and be successful in the long run. So during my first year, I actually did a lot of my clinical work at the College Counseling Center. And I've been there ever since. So each year, that's kind of my graduate assistantship, where I am working with college students and empowering them, allowing them to understand their strengths and using their strengths to get to where they need to go as far as their success. And so that's been very, very successful. And then research that I've done definitely sets me up for an academic position after internship. So
I love that. Good for you. That's fantastic. Fantastic. Talk a little bit. One of the things you haven't said quite as much about as I think you'd like to is that whole thing about, one, you are driving towards the goal, you're assessing the world, you're figuring out where you fit in the world, you figure out what you want to do and how to get there, but you're creating these wonderful connections with people, these very positive, collaborative, respectful connections with the people you're referencing, that you maximize the relationship through with Phil Williams, and therefore with the legislative body, that's a nice group of people to be associated with. But also, you've talked some about the things you've done to really get yourself in the right framework to be able to move forward and getting into the college campus setting. So talk some about the groups you're working with and that activity.
Sure. So I mainly have been able to form my connections on campus, particularly because of my work at the College Counseling Center. So we are a very central entity for the campus. So I've been able to do a lot of my outreach initiatives, such as recently I created a peer support program that was non-existent here at South. And so that has been very exciting.
Say that again. Say that again. You created what?
A peer support program.
Oh, okay. Very good.
Yeah. Yeah, so that students can have other students that serve as peer mentors. And that's been very useful when it comes to
Yeah.
mental health. Yeah, for sure. So by being able to do that, I have been able to partner with the vice president on campus of student affairs, has had a leg into, making sure that all of these initiatives kind of target the students directly. We just got about 2 years ago our first chief diversity and inclusion officer. So because of my research and clinical interests kind of revolve around, our students of color on campus, I've been able to partner with him. We've been able to do research together and trying to make sure that our campus climate is a more diverse climate, as well as open to talking about multicultural issues. And then also because, college students are in that phase trying to figure it out and trying to figure out what's going to be next for them. I've also partnered with career services for some of our students to be able to kind of have those exposure to different opportunities as well. Even beyond that, I have been called in numerous times to do lectures for students in regards to mental health, and in regards to, multicultural and diverse issues. So it has been phenomenal.
You are already doing that thing, aren't you? You are already doing
yeah.
it. Good for you. That is fantastic.
Yeah.
Way to go. Fantastic. I'm so pleased here. So proud of you. Way to go. Way to go. Anything, this thing that we're doing right now is for a lot of purposes, but one of them is to really get the mindset right for people who are thinking about this option, to really think about how to do what they want to do and how to find their place in the world. What do you want to share with them? What do you want those folks to know? Further folks from A&M or any place else that are really looking at this, what do they need to be thinking about to really to be like you, to do like you've done?
Yeah, I think the main thing is to have clear defined goals and know what you want. And beyond just knowing what you want, know how to get there. And that's by knowing who you are, your strengths, your weaknesses, and being able to network with people and establish opportunities. Don't be afraid to reach out and to, connect with people, even if you're not familiar with them, because you never know who knows who that can help you to get to where you need to go. So have clear defined goals, network, be confident in who you are, and never stop striving and getting to where you need to be. Hard work, dedication, perseverance, ambition, that's what you need, and you can get there.
I love it. I love that. And what you discovered is that people want to help. That's the really cool thing, is that people want to help. And I love that you've been able to establish those relationships and do such a great job. And I'm very proud of you. Way to go.
Thank you.
Make sure we never lose touch. Okay.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
You were the cornerstone in helping me get here. So I will forever, appreciate that.
I appreciate you.